Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dentistry Unmasked. I'm David Rice here, as always, with
Hey everybody, it's Pam Maragliano-Muniz. David, so excited for this week because I would say most of the time I feel like I know most of our guests, and I feel like today I get to meet two new friends.
you know what? I'm super excited to introduce you to like two long-standing friends of mine and make them your friends too. Because welcome, Greg Anderson. Welcome, Stuart Anderson. I've known these guys for 20 plus years, which is shocking because I'm like 31. Greg, you're like 42.
Yeah,
You're like 19 still.
that's
Right.
very
But
good,
welcome.
David. Very
No,
good.
thank you. Grateful to be here. Thanks.
Yeah. Pam, you've heard me like share like too many stories to stay out loud about Crown Counsel and Greg and Stuart. And they might have an uncle slash brother involved in this mix and other folks, Steve, who've been like so incredibly impactful in my life, right? Not just my dental practice and world, but like life in general. So I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna let you kick us off, Pam, because I know like all the friendship things and stuff I would go to, but
Well, all
give me
right.
your best Pam fun.
I want to start with that. You said, most impactful for your life. I feel like a lot of times we put our, we have our education and then we take our education and we, try to bring it to our patients. But at the end of the day, it's a job, or, maybe people don't feel the satisfaction that they heard that you can achieve with dentistry. But what you said is really powerful. Like, tell me more about that. Like, how did they impact your life?
So I'll tell you, it was like a random find. I'm a brand new practice owner, and I'm gonna date myself with the VHS cassette tape that I saw that were
What?
I know. I know. And I was so grateful I watched it. I remember going to Mike Gaglio, the dentist I bought my practice from. I'm like, what do you know about like Crown Counsel? Like, what do you know? He's like, you know what, David? I don't know a lot other than people either like they go one time and they're just hooked forever, or maybe I don't know enough about it to talk from there. So I'm like, I'm going. And it was 2 full days of non-dentist speakers, and every single person who came up was a keynote that blew me away. I'm like, oh my God, I need more. I need more. I need more. And I will tell you from learning how to build like real culture and leading a team and all the stuff that we know actually builds success in dentistry all started with Greg and Stuart and gang and Crown Counsel and giving back to community and like building a force field around our team who like wanted to do good. We wanted to be known for something bigger than dentistry, and that, it just kind of brought it together.
Wow. So, Greg, Stewart, how did you do this? I mean, I feel like a lot of people want to create transformative experiences for dentists so that they can enjoy their careers and, be impactful to their communities, but also be financially rewarded so that they feel compelled to be philanthropic. But that's a tall order.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the space that dentists work in and the teams where we say you're doing good, right? Everything that you do, everything that you touch is making a difference. Um, David, a few episodes when you guys met with Amy Morgan from Spear, you guys talked about like Pam, you were like kind of not making fun of the buzzword culture, but you were like, we hear culture, culture, culture. It's like, what is that? Like, how is it created? And David and Amy talked about how having a plan that's bigger than being a great clinical dentist is what transforms practices. And from our point of view, we try to provide the tools to doctors like David Rice that want more, that want to connect with the very best, learn skills that are outside of clinical dentistry. And that's why David says he goes to the annual event and learns. I don't even know who the speakers were, David, but it was probably some guy that climbed Everest or some wacky presenter that you're like, how am I even going to apply this to dentistry? But somehow you go home and you're like, this is making us a better team. We're serving our patients better. We're serving our community better because I'm inspired to be like a better person and provide more health care to the people that we serve. So that's Greg and I, that's our goal, is to find people like David who want to lift our community to provide more good for the people that you serve. So, I mean, that's a big vision. Gregor, what did I miss?
Well, we're not two people. We're not a different person when we walk out of the office than we are when we walk into the office. And so our goal is to build people. It builds families as well as it builds practices. Because the things that we learn at the office, or frankly, the things that we learn at home, they cross paths. And our view is that if you build good people, they will be as successful at home as they are at the office, and as successful in the office as they are at home. That doesn't mean we don't have problems or challenges, as we say, but overcoming those, uh, dentistry. And David, I think you would agree with this. It generally is a lonely business. I mean, you wake up in the morning and you're in charge and you're running a small business, and what we have tried to build is a group of people who are willing to share the very best of what they have with other people who are willing to share the best of what they have. So, especially when the challenging time comes, there is a way, a person, a group of people that you can say, "Hey, I'm struggling with this," or "Hey, I found something really great." And maybe it's working in New York, or maybe it's working in Salina, Kansas, or maybe it's working in Arizona, or maybe it's the guy that is got the practice right next door to yours. But if you have two people that are willing to share the very best of what they have, both people will be more successful.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Pam, you and I talked to Roger Levin recently, and one of Roger's comments on mentors, one of the ingredients was what Greg shared, but also was people who have like real experience. And I think the if you sat in a room of Crown Council dentists, what Greg just shared of like everybody really genuinely wants to help the people around them, they also tend to attract people who are, top 2% performers. So they actually have the knowledge and the experience. So when they're sharing something, like I could never take enough notes. I could never record enough sessions. I could never go back and listen enough because everything is just gold after gold after gold. And I think that's, if I look at myself as a 26-year-old dentist to a 29-year-old dentist, I probably learned more from those rooms full of people in 2 years than most people learn in 30 years because they were the right people who really wanted to help and they had the lessons too.
I'll dispel a rumor. There is a rumor, and I don't know where it got started, but it got started a long time ago. But there is a rumor or a view in the marketplace that the Crown Council is a group of such elite dentists that you can't get in. That there must be like a secret code.
Hmm?
And what you said, David, is really what the truth is. We are not exclusionary, but if you do not have a giving heart, if you are not willing to share the best of what you have with other people, you will be uncomfortable and therefore will feel like you don't belong. And sometimes it takes people a while to get into that mode. But we welcome all people, but we have found that the group of people that make the very best Crown Council members are referred to us by people that already are, because they say, you would fit very well inside the community. So, lest there be anybody who says they can't get in, I'm not the 2%. Come try it.
Well,
Yeah.
so let's talk about this. I feel like there's so many young dentists that graduate from dental school, and we all know that dental school prepares you for board
Nothing.
exams and, checking the boxes for accreditation. We know that does not really prepare you for practice. It certainly doesn't prepare you for business. And so there's this push now, at least it seems on social media, to go to some of these bigger education centers and go through this continuum. Who would seek out the Crown Council, and like how would you know that it's right for you? And like take me through a journey. Like I'm gonna try to join today and see if I'm allowed in. And I joke. And but no,
You're
like
out.
what's gonna
We
happen
have
if
a
you're going?
special vetting process. Stu, go down the road of what we do with young dentists.
No,
Great
it's a good
question.
question, Pam. I mean, we have refined that over the years to hopefully be very clear and concise as to who and what happens inside this little group. And I was actually speaking to a resource partner yesterday, so a business partner that works inside the Crown Council, and she asked this same question. She's like, "Hey, if you were going to describe what a Crown Council member is, who am I working with? Who am I selling to?" And the description that I gave to her was, if you are looking for an opportunity to get to just like, well, I need this, I want this, give me this. If I join your group, how much do I get? I will just pump the brakes and be like, you're not gonna get anything. The getting comes when I look at some of the best people, and David is an incredible example of that, who are willing to give. And the more David gave and the more his team gives to this group, in my opinion, that makes the experience inside Crown Council better. I'll use another example. Dr. David Hornbrook he's part of our group, and he runs what we call our Young Dentist program. And all it was David was like, "Hey, I want to help young dentists." And so he said, "Okay, what do you have in mind, David?" And he put together a 3-weekend live clinical training opportunity for young dentists where we fly 50 new Crown Council members in every year, and he does 3 weekends with them. And that was only born out of his desire to share what he knows with the young generation of Crown Council doctors. I'll give another example. Dr. Jeff Gray in our group, he was running a whitening charitable program in his practice, and it was very successful. He loved doing charity work, and he said, "Hey, Crown Council, I am doing this thing. It's building my community. It's building my practice. Let me tell you about it. What if we all did this together?" And that launched into a community-driven art charitable whitening program that's raised $52 million over the last 27 years. So if I was going to explain how to interact with Crown Council, I would say, sure, we provide you tools for culture building, handbooks, weekly videos, webinars, live training, humanitarian events where a doctor's like, well, I don't have time for any of that stuff. So thank you. But more importantly, it's having the mentality that I'm going to contribute here in order to make a difference for my peers that I'm connecting with.
I love that.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Can I add to that?
You bet.
So what Stuart was talking about is Smiles for Life, and our practice. Well, I guess my former practice now. Damn, I'm old. We did Smiles for Life together for years, and
A lot of it.
a lot of it, a lot of it. Yeah. I think to Stuart and Greg's concept, like the more we gave, first of all, the more we were fulfilled. Our favorite months of the year were always Smiles for Life. Like our team looked forward to it. People had extra energy. Our patients looked forward to it. We raised some money over the years, which was great. We got to go hang out in New York, with Garth Brooks and Troy Aikman and a bunch of the guys from the Mets and the Yankees, and just like surreal experiences that were like pleasantly shocking surprises, all because genuinely those were the best 4 months of the year in our practice, every
Let's
single year.
talk about that. Because you usually think of giving and charity work and, philanthropy, and you don't think of tooth whitening. Like these aren't kind of going together per se. So I need to hear more.
I'll tell you how it works.
Tell us.
It's very simple. Ultradent currently, there have been some others over the years, but Ultradent provides all of the whitening material for free. The dentist and the practice provide the professional whitening service without any compensation, and the patient contributes money to the Smiles for Life Foundation in an amount that roughly approximates the value of the whitening service. So the dentist is giving 100%, Ultradent is giving 100%, and the patient gives all of that money directly to the foundation. And then the dentist, the Crown Council member, is provided an opportunity to pick a local charity where they give 50% of the money that is raised. So they have a stake in the ground in their own community. And then we have a number of other national things that we do with the other half the money. We have humanitarian work we do together. We have a base of operation in the Dominican Republic where we've gone over 60 times over the years, still do a couple of trips a year. We have a base of operation in Chiapas, Mexico, doing the same thing. We've done the same thing in Guatemala. We also are partners with the Garth Brooks Teammates for Kids Foundation, and we help with their child life program and building child life zones, a place where kids go but doctors don't, in children's hospitals across the country, and things like that that we do together, which is what David was talking about. That we went to one at Mount Sinai in New York more years ago than he and I probably want to remember. But it provides the team an opportunity to say, we would like to do something together and we would like it to benefit something. And somebody, sometimes it's a team member who's got a kid who's a diabetic and they want to benefit the Diabetes Association or, whatever it is. And the team does it together. And it's generated, what'd you say, Stu? Over 52 million now over
Yeah.
the year. Lot of
Wow.
52.
and taken us to some very interesting places. David is not wrong.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Pam. So we were so fortunate locally. One year well, probably several years at a click, we worked with like the Buffalo Sabres Foundation, so our hockey team. Now we can't win Stanley Cups, but I will tell you the
Pretty
players
funny.
are amazing. So we ran a street hockey tournament in our parking lot as a part of Smiles for Life for those several years. And players came and mascots came and all the kids in the practice came. Amazing. We did one back when, Jim Kelly was just in the Hall of Fame. And that guy came and threw footballs to, 30, 40 young kids for hours. Normally something, he'd charge like $50,000 to make an appearance. So like that, like the giving just like perpetuated. Like the more we gave, like the more just tremendously cool things happened for our team, our patients, and then, for us as practice owners too. Because the backside of this, which never was our motivation, became like, wow, we were that practice. And our community looked at us as more than a dental practice. They loved the dentistry, sure, but I think they loved our team far more than they loved the dentistry that happened, which was, important for us to feel like we made a difference over a couple of decades of time.
Wow. Well, what about, so I'm going to play a little devil's advocate, and I don't think it's that people don't want to give because, like,
Yeah.
who doesn't want to do good or help others or whatever? But I feel like a lot of practices feel bogged down. Maybe they don't have a full team or whatever it is that they feel like, gosh, I don't really have the time, or I don't know if I can, or, I can't try to bring another thing in that somebody has to organize. What would you say to them? Because I think that there's certainly, though that's an obstacle that can be easily overcome, but I think it's a conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah, great question, Pam. And we get it all the time, which is like, especially the doctor. He's like, oh, or she's like, oh, great, another thing. Thanks a lot. So there, I'll give two of my personal feelings. One is because we've been running Smiles for Life for 27 years. Every question has been asked. Everything that is a team is like, well, what do we do? It's been done 1,000 times. So we have a box, a system, training, everything that anyone would need to seamlessly launch Smiles for Life. So they don't have to figure it out on their own. Two, the Mortensen dental practices across the United States. So all of these practices in Mortensen Family Dental run Smiles for Life, and they pick a single team member who they call their charity champion. And this is the person in the practice that's like the most passionate about running the program. They're going to be the one that's going to interface with the charity. And they are really the team member that runs with Smiles for Life. Um, I wouldn't say it's a make or break situation, but if you don't have a charity champion, someone in the practice that's really passionate about it, it's going to be really tough to run. like it flops a lot. Like doctors are so excited to do Smiles for Life and then no one even opens the box. So picking that charity champion on the team who says, I'm going to order the whitening materials, I'm going to set up the social media account, I'm going to connect with the local charity is an incredible way to make sure that it's successful. Did that answer the question okay?
I think it did. And I think it's interesting because it's not blocking a week of your time to fly to a far off land to do. I mean, for me, I don't extract teeth. I'm not your girl to go to some place and do like Bikram extractions. I can't do it. But so I feel like it's not, it doesn't sound like a heavy lift as far as the time in the practice as well. And who doesn't want their teeth whitened? And so I feel like, wow, it's a cool way to be able to give back. And I don't think it's, something that takes a lot of time out of a practice as well. So
Yeah.
great
One,
idea.
one more thing, Pam, which is interesting, which is like a byproduct of Smiles for Life, is it is an incredible new patient generator for a practice. So it creates stories in the community, a way to set yourself apart inside the community, which then generates people to come and get their teeth whitened. So it's not all just I'm not trying to twist our charitable efforts into a patient generator, but that is exactly what it does is people come to your practice because you've set yourself apart in a different way.
And the number is over 250,000 patients have had their teeth whitened through Smiles for Life. And all of those are patients in somebody's practice. And what it does is it gives you an opportunity to have a patient feel the culture of your practice and that would be a happy dental home for them to come back for everything else. We've heard that story 1,000 times.
Very true. I would say, after our first year, where I feel like we probably whitened 99% of our own patients, by year 2, 3, 4, 5, et cetera, everyone's like, well,
Done
I'm
all
gonna tell my
those.
sister, my brother, my mom, my dad, my kids, my neighbors, and they just sent all these, people in, and you do a, nice little screening, make sure it was safe for them, and but it was a great first step, and it was like the most organic way to meet people that we ever experienced. Can I tell you like a quick story about New York, super fast?
Hmm.
All right. This
Yes.
is this is I think I've confessed this to Stuart, but I don't know if I've ever confessed this to you, Greg. So, Garth Brooks is there. So of course, like awesome, amazing wife Trisha Yearwood's there. I'm not a country music fan. So now picture the media is doing all the things with Garth and I wind up having like a 20-minute conversation with Trisha. No idea. She's like a mega country music star. So I fly home and I call one of my friends who is, and I'm like, wow, this day was just incredible telling him all the stories. And I was hanging out with Trisha Yearwood, but he's like, you know who she is, right? I'm like, yeah, it's Garth's wife. He's like, no, no, no. She's like as big of a star as he is. I'm like, I had no idea, but probably why we got
She probably
along. I don't
loved,
know.
yeah, she probably loved you for that.
The flip side of that, David, is when Garth was in Salt Lake and we went to a concert, one of my grandchildren, a granddaughter who was 12, said to me, "Who's that guy singing with Trisha?" So cuts both ways, I guess.
It cuts both ways. Yeah, like shame on me. I had no idea. And I will
Talk
tell you
about a
too,
giving heart. I mean, talk about a
like
giving
more
heart.
personal stories. Like I'm just going to sing these guys praises because I love them so much, Pam. When I was going to build Ignite, what I knew from a mentor standpoint is Steve, who's not with us here today, was a guy I needed to call. And to show like the level, like that this is just who these folks are. I'm like, hey, if I come to Fort Worth, Texas, could you carve out a little time? He's like, come for a day. Like picks me up at the airport. We go to like hang out at Fort Worth Club. Like we spent an entire day, and he, like a real mentor did, was like, here's the stuff I like. Here's the stuff that's not going to work. Tell me what you're trying to accomplish. And it was like, we don't, I mean, we don't meet people like that every day in our life. So I think when we do, we've got to like latch on and find more of those people and build our circle with just awesome people who really genuinely want better for the folks around them.
And you know, David, those people aren't born.
True.
Those people are created through life experience. And we have found that over and over again. When we say that it's great to have people who are willing to give and have a giving heart and all of those things, people aren't often born with that view. It takes a little bit of growth and opportunity to learn how to be a mentor and learn how to receive mentoring. And when you asked earlier, Pam, where do you start? Well, if you are a young dentist and you are looking for an opportunity to be involved with a group of like-minded people that you can grow with in a mastermind group or a group of people who are willing to help you grow your business and grow your family, we hope we've built that kind of environment. Certainly, you're building that kind of environment.
Well, it's interesting. I know we tend to focus advice towards the young dentist because obviously mid-career dentists, we know it all, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Sure you
but
do.
I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like as a practice owner, I have, a couple of associates that come in and out, but I do feel like it's kind of isolating. If I go to my local whatever, it's not like there's this.
Debbie Downer,
No, yeah, like there's not this camaraderie there. It's sort
always
of
me.
like, they ask you questions to almost like get information as opposed to,
Mm.
us to have some level of camaraderie. So, I
Amen.
mean, it sounds to me that, yeah, this sounds like an amazing place. Like it would be great if this is where you start your career because then you can grow up and be like David of all people. Like who doesn't want that? But also if you're sort of somebody who in a practice you really feel like you could use close friends, camaraderie, community, mentorship. I mean, it's never too late for it, right?
Right. I agree. And there's even been organic things that we haven't created or thought that mentorship and masterminding would happen. So Greg mentioned going on our humanitarian trips. We just built those because a lot of the community wanted to go on humanitarian trips. So we said, okay, well, we'll organize that. That's fun. We'll put it together and everybody can come along. It's grown into, right, 60 trips over 20 years. And the people that go on those trips, they're like, this was the greatest 10 days, not only with my team, but also with the other doctors that are now lifelong friends, where you're spending a day or 4 days working in a church where there's like chickens on the ground. And you're like, we couldn't have had this experience together anywhere else. And now you're my best friend for all time because I was sweating my guts out and almost passed out, and you gave me a Gatorade. Yay, now we're best friends. But it's like the funnest stories come back from these humanitarian trips where I never thought we were just like, hey, this would be a cool service if we provided humanitarian trips. And now, I mean, I don't know how many thousands of our members have been on them, but people are like, this is it. This transformed my career, just being on like a little humanitarian trip for 10 days. So, yeah,
Change your life.
yeah.
No, it's true. I've only done one. Again, because I'm kind of limited in my practice, I was always kind of hesitant to get into one that's surgical oriented. And I went to one that was more preventive oriented. And gosh, I worked like a dog, but I feel like I got so much more out of it than I could ever do with my two hands. So it's extraordinarily special if you guys haven't,
Yeah.
anyone out there hasn't had that opportunity. But if you want that opportunity, there's obviously the framework right here. And I don't know. I feel like I can't believe we're getting close to time here, David. Like, I don't even know what to say.
That's kooky. It happens every week. I don't understand. Time flies.
Time flies.
Time flies when you're having fun, but it's actually been really fun for me to watch, you guys like such three close friends just kind of chat and catch up and share stories and memories and all of those things. I mean, that's incredible.
We have this annual event every year, Pam. We do it once a year. And I have always said that my favorite day is Thursday before it starts on Friday and Saturday, when all of the people come together and they come to check in, but they come and they stay and they'll stay for hours. And it's like a family reunion of people that like each other. I mean, they come and it's like the time has never passed. The relationships are strong enough that um, they love they love being together. And I think David mentioned it. The energy in the room is palpable. It because of that very thing is that they love each other, they love helping each other, and they like to be with each other.
I like how you said that, a family reunion of people who like each other, because we've probably already all been
Been
to
to
one
a
of those
family
family
reunion.
reunions where we're like, I'm gonna stay over this
Oh,
way. And
Bill's here.
Little insight into Greg's family reunions.
perfect. Well, guys, like we so appreciate you spending some time with us here today and just giving us a little bit of glimpse as to, who the Crown Council is, more than what, I think. And so thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Great,
Thank you.
great to be with you.
David, if I could say one final thing, when I interviewed David for a leadership podcast for our young dentists, and it's funny, Pam, because the question you asked earlier is the question we get all the time, like, who is this group? Like, what are you? What is this? And David is the model, like the way I look at him is the way that I tell the young dentists, this is an example, a mentor that you can follow, that will lead you in a way to not only be successful, but also happy. And so I want to express my gratitude for like being in dentistry, not being a dentist, right? For what you guys build, the incredible work that you do to just, because you don't have to do this. Like when I look at it, I was like, you can just be in your practice. And I see David flying around and mentoring other people and being involved in other dentists' lives. And I'm like, for what? And he's like, because that I want to do good in the lives of people who are in this awesome profession. And I just commend both of you for what you do to help dentistry, because
Amen.
it's tough. It's a tough place. So thanks.
Wow.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much. And
Yeah.
yeah, this has been awesome. Everybody out there, check out the Crown Council, check out Smiles for Life. And, hopefully, if nothing else, get involved, do good by doing good. It's, probably going to give you more than you can ever, ever imagine.
True story. We'll see you next week, gang.
Yes,
you,
we
gang.
will.
Cheers.
Thank you, everyone, for watching or listening to the show this week. And thanks to our guests and sponsors on this episode.
Please check out our social media at Dr. Pamela_Maragliano and at Dental Economics Official.
Or you can check me out at Ignite DDS or at Dr. David Rice.
And go to dentaleconomics.com to receive dental economics. You can choose to receive DE in print or digitally, and you can also get the details of our Principles of Practice Management conference on our website.
If you have topics or guests or anything you'd like to talk about on the show, send us an email to dentistryunmaskpodcast@gmail.com, and we will do our very best to make it happen. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.